Hey, welcome everybody to another episode of the Coach's Corner. We're happy to have everybody joining us here. As people start coming in and getting settled in here, we really appreciate everybody to joining us. Tonight we've got an episode that we haven't done in quite some time, actually. This is the how-to on do video analysis and video review. This is something that Thorfinn and Helga and I were doing for quite some time there for a while. And with us all getting back to events, it's been kind of busy for all of us. It's part of why we shifted the Coach's Corner to Wednesday nights, and so we just figured we'd go over the how-to on this again to kind of show people how to look at video and the sort of things that we're looking for. And so before I jump into there, some of the coaches we got His Grace Thorfinn, who's one of the regulars for this particular section. Sir Sagan, who's one of our regular coaches as well. It's been a while since he's been out. Yeah,
I can tell you, we're all
there. Yeah, it's been a while since Sagan's been able to join us, so we're glad that he's feeling up to it and providing his input there. And we got a special guest coach with us tonight, Duke Fabian from the West Kingdom, who is one of my original trainers. And when we had a spot here, definitely glad to have him fill in. So Fabian, since most folks should be familiar with Thorfinn and Sagan, let's have you just kind of give us a brief overview of like how you use video to analyze fightings and to pick things apart.
Oh my God. When I got serious about fighting, it was always about using video review, videotaping everything I possibly could, starting in Sagan's backyard, going out and doing a little bit, going back and watching stuff on the TV, going right back out immediately and deconstructing, really save time on, figuring things out. It's one thing to be told that you're doing something, and it's another one to go ahead and see it and be able to instantly correct it and go back out and do it again. It just was an absolute game changer. So I started videotaping absolutely everything, and basically allows me to do virtual fighter practices with people I've never fought before, because I can watch what they're doing on the tape and basically intersect myself and try to and do play deconstruction from there. So it's a lot of fun.
I mean, I learned how to do video review from Sagan as well. So, and it's been a super powerful tool for me, even back on the VHS days where we had the little jog shuttle remote thing and you had to wait for the tape to catch up and all that good stuff. So yeah, I've been doing this for a long time. I know, Thorfinn spends, endless hours at night looking over video stuff.
Almost every night.
Yeah. So this is something that we've all got quite a bit of experience with. It's a hugely valuable tool. Being able to analyze fighting is one of the most crucial skills that we have as coaches and trainers. Being able to break a fight down and look at it and figure out what's wrong with the fight, so that we can, help people figure out how to get better in their fight. I think it's more effective to be able to do it live, but it's easier to learn how to do analysis using the video. And we'll get onto the techniques of how to do that in just a minute. So we're fortunate enough to have a couple of gentlemen who have lent us their video to review. We've got Lord Edward from down in Trimaris. Edward, would you mind introducing yourself just a little bit?
I am Lord Edward. Recently just got my AOA. I've been fighting for 13 years off and on. Started up in the East Kingdom. Moved down here to Trimaris about 3 years ago and have started getting back into fighting. It'll be 1 year this July after taking about a 5-year break.
Okay.
And I've been training with His Majesty of Trimaris Vincent, Sir Kelwin, Dugari, and several other of the greats down here. I'm really very fortunate for the group I'm able to practice with down here on a regular basis.
Cool. Nice. And then joining us from down under, We've got Lord Malagwan. Oh, hang on, something happened there. Am I seeing you there? All right.
I'm still here.
You still there? All right. Malcolm, why don't you give us a little introduction there and let us know what you got going on there.
My name is Malgun ap Merlin. I'm from Lockhart. Was in Sydney for a bit, but now moved down the coast. I started fighting around about 10 years ago or so. Picked up sword and board, strapped heater. Got to be okay with it. Picked up a long sword. Wow, this is amazing. Picked up a second stick, and again, wow, this is amazing. And just loved it so much that I've stuck with it the last, 6 or 8 years or so. I've been fortunate that I get to travel around a bit for my work, so I'll go into the baronial training that they have weekly. Sometimes I've managed to get to another barony here and there, which has been nice. I've been recently trying to build my local group, so I've been running fighter training fortnightly, and those guys are amazing and inspirational, and they suck up knowledge like a sponge, and it's wonderful. So I am trying to do everything that I can to give them the best possible foundations for fighting. So one of those things is I've never really done video analysis before, despite I just haven't. So I'm hoping that I can learn from this session how to do that better and hopefully improve my fighting to pass on everything I can to our local fighters.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Hey, Melvin, where are you at in Australia right now?
About 2 hours south of Sydney.
Okay. So
Mhm.
I know the general area. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right on. Cool.
Yeah.
East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So before we get started here, I want to cover some sort of caveats and disclaimers about this whole process. It is important to understand that as we look at the video, we all tend to look at this as from a perspective of we learn more from our failures than we do our successes. So we're going to be looking at the fights that you lost. And as we go over these things, we're looking at this as a starting point where when we've been able to identify a deficiency of some sort, we're going to try to figure out a way to give you some information to make that better. We tend to look at this from what we refer to as a perspective of ruthless self-assessment, and it is important for you guys to understand that it's ruthless and it's direct, but it's not mean. It's not meant to be cruel, right? There's nothing. We're not having you guys out here to tell you what awful fighters you are, right? We're here just to identify these things as deficiencies because it is easier to fix a deficiency than it is to improve something that you're already doing well. So as we review this, we're going to be looking at the fights you lost. But that's the best way to help yourself really, is to figure out what's wrong with your fight and, work to improve that. And understanding too, that even at all of our levels, we are always operating under the assumption that there is always something wrong with your fight.
Yeah. You can always learn, man.
There's always an improvement to be made. So it doesn't matter how good you get. It doesn't matter how good you are. There's always something wrong with your fight. Of course, as you get better, it's harder to identify those things. One of the reasons that we do this with unbelted fighters is, some of the stuff we have, for some of the belted fighters, there's sort of nuanced suggestions, but you guys are going to have some deficiencies that are applicable to a broader range of our audience. The problems that you have are guaranteed somebody else has these problems as well.
They're universal. They're universal issues.
They really are. And so you guys are helping us out and helping out the community by being able to have your video reviewed so we can look at what you're doing, tell you not to do that thing. So that somebody else can look at it and go, I do that thing. Maybe I should stop doing that thing. Yeah. Right. So that's the perspective that we're coming from. Also, we all see the fight very differently. So you're going to hear something different from Sagan. You're going to hear something different from Fabian. You're going to hear something different from Thorfinn. Ultimately, none of us is individually, most right. Collectively, we're all correct. But eventually, you're going to have to figure out, which one of these guys has the thing that they told you that makes the most sense to you, that you're going to be able to go to practice and start working on. And the rest of it is going to be stuff that you heard, that you may or may not be ready for, that may not be applicable to you. If you have a night at home that you want to work with, you want to talk to them about it, and as to how these things fit inside your training regimen. And it's not that it's not that they're wrong. Some of it just may not be applicable to you. Some of it may be stuff you're just not ready for. But if you hear it now, one of these days you're going to go, oh yeah, I remember when Fabian said that thing and I didn't get it. And now all of a sudden it works for me, right?
Not just that, you can also sometimes use the information, pass it on to somebody else that can use it.
Right. Exactly. Or you're actually getting information that now you know to look for.
Right.
Oh, by the way, hey, I saw that thing. I don't do it, but the other guy, when we were reviewing the video, he did, and the coaches, brought up these options for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, one of the things that Sean's going to say, there's going to be like language that each one of us is using that may even be describing the same type of thing, and maybe one of those languages is going to connect with you and make that jump for you. So there's no one way or wrong way to approach these, what we're talking about. It's whichever one makes sense for you to get the information across.
Right.
And sometimes go ahead, Sagan.
All four of us say it, and it's not clear. Raise your hand.
Oh, yeah, it's okay for you guys to take notes as well.
Right. I didn't. You guys told me, but I didn't get it. Because we're talking the language where we talk to one another.
Yeah.
So that's a little different. If you need to have the video stop to record the time in your notes, just let us know.
Yeah, we can and guys, take notes. It's okay. So that way you can say like, oh, okay, what about this thing that you mentioned?
Yeah.
This will be recorded for later review, yeah?
I was just thinking that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
This
it's
gets
going to go into the archive. So
it gets uploaded to the Coach's Corner YouTube channel.
Because I can't write that fast, guys.
There we go. Well, there's a lot.
Because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of notes. Because I think I only won one of my 5.
That's right. I mean, geez, Malgwin, how bad are these fights?
They're short.
And on that note, coaches, remember, no pointing and laughing. Come on now.
Well,
yeah, we say that for each other.
I just try to be less shit.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I mean, ultimately, we're here to help you. You guys are helping us by being able to give us an opportunity to show people how we do this.
Yes.
With the experience that we have. And again, it's a critical skill that people need to know how to do for sure. So we really, thank you both for providing your video and subjecting yourselves to our abuses.
Hey man, Helga's not here. You're lucky. Helga's not here.
That's right.
She is fucking savage.
Well, there is that, yeah.
And still somehow you say thank you at the end of it.
Yeah, right.
I don't know how she does that.
Yeah, sometimes with a question mark, but yeah.
Thank you. You're helping like a cat. All right. So the process, and again, I got this process from Sagan years ago, but I'm going to go over it as I know it. What we're going to do is we're going to go through the video. We're going to look at it full speed, and we're going to once we have a point of impact, a point at which a blow has been acknowledged, we're gonna stop the video at that point, and we're gonna go over that. This is one of those things where we could spend a half an hour talking about 30 seconds worth of information.
Indeed. Yeah.
I mean, because there's just a lot going on. And then what we'll do is what we are taking that point of impact and that acknowledged blow, and we are seeing that as a point of failure on the person who got struck, rather than a point of success on the person who delivered that blow. Okay, so again, we learn more from our failures than we do our successes. If you're the one that got struck in the leg or got hit in the head, we're gonna back that off, and we're gonna find out what you did to end up getting hit, and that's the angle that we're taking on that. So we're gonna stop it at that point. Once you've identified a point of impact, you'll need to back the video up as much as 10 seconds before or more before the actual impact point, because very rarely is the impact point just a matter of he just hit me. There is a series of things that have led to that we all look for, like why was that leg open? Maybe you're coming off of a bad delivery, which gave you a bad recovery, which opened you up. There's all these things that could be happening that lead into this point of impact. And we want you to understand what those things are, because again, it's not just a matter of he just walked in and hit me. That's just,
it's never the case.
That's never the case, right? And one of the reasons that I do this as a class on a regular basis is because a lot of people take video, but Malgoin, like you said, they don't know what to do with it. So you watch the video and you're like, oh man, there's me getting my ass kicked. Let me rewind that and watch me get my ass kicked some more.
You've watched my videos already, I see.
Taking the time to break it down, analyze it, and find out what happened. So we're gonna watch it full speed, and we're gonna find that impact point, and then we're gonna do a mix of half speed and frame by frame. The frame by frame gives us detail as to what happened, where we can see frame by frame, like the stick coming in and making impact. However, the frame by frame can also lose context a little bit. So if by doing half speed, we slow it down at a speed at which we can follow along with what's going on, but we also have the context of what's going on in the greater scheme of the whole fight. Because sometimes watching one individual blow go frame by frame, you just can't quite tell. It just doesn't tell the whole story. So after we've done some frame by frame, we've done some half speed, looked at it, get a good understanding of what's happening. Then we're going to watch it full speed again, and what you're going to see is just you're going to have a completely different understanding of what that fight is. Because when we watch it the first time through, our sport is very fast. It is a very fast sport,
actually,
right? And when you're watching video, and this is why people have a hard time, breaking it down like this. It's because you just watch it and everything happens so fast. You're just like, you have no idea what really happened. So once we watch it full speed again after we've reviewed it, you're going to see that you just have a completely different perspective of how you're seeing fighting in general. And it's not just because you know what's coming in this particular fight. It's just you have a better understanding of the fight at large. So that's the basic process. One of the things that I'll cover in just a second here when we get to the video, there are hotkey shortcuts that you can use on YouTube for the people who are watching at home, that you can use to do frame by frame, that you can use to slow down video. And I'll show you how to get to that in just a second here. All right. We got any questions? All right. Edward, we've got you lined up first. You just happen to be at the top of the list there, so you're the lucky one.
We're just, brace for impact.
Brace for impact.
That's what I say every time I have to fight His Majesty.
Okay.
Well, hopefully he's. Did you tell him you're going to be on tonight?
No.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Somebody
Who are you fighting here?
Do we need to have somebody put out a call out to have His Majesty Trimaris tune in so we can see his handiwork here?
Is that His Majesty he's fighting here?
It is.
Yeah, he's there in the Curus.
Okay.
Okay. At least you picked a hard fight for yourself. That's good.
Let's see. I have got to get back to that tab right there. Okay. All right. Okay. So from the YouTubes here, if you just on the keyboard, if you just hit a question mark, it'll bring up the keyboard shortcuts. YouTube has come a long way since its invention in what it allows us to do. But what you can do with the arrow keys, the shift, left and or not the left and right, but the caret keys, that will allow you to increase and decrease the play rate, and then you can just use the arrow keys on your keyboard to do one frame at a time, forward or back. So if you're not familiar with these commands are also in the settings. So if you hit the little cogwheel here for settings, you can do those. Like you can change the playback here. You can change it down. You can go 1 3/4 or down to a quarter speed. So you can get to it that way, but it's just easy using the hotkeys there as well.
The settings are available on your TV as well. You can navigate those with your remote control.
Remote control.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I'm gonna have to do that.
Yeah. So when you're watching it on like the big screen in your living room, you can go in and adjust the speed same way.
Yeah. All right. So let's get to it.
Okay, so Sean, can you full screen it, please?
Like that.
Well, that should do it. Thank you, sir.
Better. Thank you.
Better.
Yeah, way bigger. Oh, it's taking a second to load.
The buffer. Yep.
Yeah. Ah, karate. I hate when it does this.
Is it?
What was that?
How's the video quality?
It's mostly still for me. It's choppy.
Yeah,
right.
It's like jumping from like 4 seconds at a time.
And it hasn't done anything for 10 seconds.
Right.
Oh, I paused it. Hang on a second.
There we go.
Back that one up.
So funny. I keep trying to grab the control bar there. I'm like, can I just back that up a little bit? Okay, there you go.
All right, Edward. It looks like you got hit in the head right there.
I did, yeah.
All right. Shit. Wrong keys. Mute that. God damn it. Now the wrong buttons. Well, that should work. I'm doing the frame by frame at this point here, so but it is.
Yeah, it's starting to do something.
Yeah, that full screen's not going to work.
Okay.
All right, let's see what we can get.
Try that one. All right, so this is the point of impact.
Get out.
All right, let's back this up a little bit. Okay, so Edward, this is right before right before the impact here.
Right, here we go.
And this is quarter speed.
Yep.
All right.
Here we go.
Fabian, what do you see here?
My biggest takeaway when I watched these earlier, Edward, is the entire time you're trying to hold your shield with just your arm out, and he's out speeding you with you moving that shield around.
Yeah.
So you're just using your arm,
Times me very well.
and you're never ever going to keep up with that by just using your arm, using your body to help start the motions with the shield. Start the body rotating and let that shield float up to where it needs to go. Pull it back with the body. Using your body to help move the shield is going to help you a lot in these situations. And that's my single biggest takeaway from watching any of the fights that I've seen of yours. That's the one thing I would want to bring up to begin with. Sagan, Thorfinn, do you have anything?
Okay, so I'll jump in real quick. With that style of shield, you don't need as big a movement as you're doing.
Right.
It's really going to be more of a zone type defense, right? So you're going to be popping that corner up, kicking with your elbow, kicking the bottom of the kite to block your legs. You're doing a lot of really exaggerated motion for such a large shield. But my big takeaway is I'm watching your steps. You do very, very large steps. And a lot of them, you're not on the balls of your feet. And so there's a point where earlier I could see that as you came in, you were sinking back to your heels. And what's happening is your body's settling back, and that makes it so you cannot move. You're nailed to the ground, right? Go ahead.
So if you look at his body motion, everything else, just the way he's curved right here, you bent over, you've locked your hips out, you can't move your body from side to side, and you're usually square to your opponent. You're not using your body to any good effect there.
Yeah, you could blade out your body to your opponent. And I find mostly I fight kind of bladed one direction or the other at an angle away from them. So, but yeah, I think that what we're saying is that when you get your body over the top of your feet like they are right there, you start to see that you can't move, or you can't move as well, right? Because one leg will be locked down. But if you're like more horse stance kind of balls of your feet, you're going to be able to move at any angle when you need to go. And what will end up happening over time is that your body will just be able to adjust where the blow needs to land on your footwork. So that's my general thing, is that I think you're doing too wide of a stance.
Right. So what's
Sagan?
again the way I approach this is, obviously I'm looking at it from a 5-on-5 standpoint, as well as, where did you willingly go? Well, you willingly went straight towards His Majesty, and now he's taking advantage of it, right? The deal here is that shield can protect you, but you're moving it around to where it's wide open, like you would a mobile shield in a way.
Yeah.
So you've got that shield to take advantage of its size. At the conclusion of this pass, His Majesty took advantage of it. So.
Yeah. Once it starts moving around like that too, then you're kind of behind the curve, right? You're trying to catch up with their blows instead of having kind of, like I said, kind of a zone defense where it's preset. You're only moving to where the blow is. A lot of motion on it is all I'm saying.
Yeah. Edward, do you have any questions on those?
Nope. I mean, I do fight very square and very linear, and not straight on, not so much lateral. I've been working on the hourglass drill with my pal, trying to get rid of that.
What does straight on mean to you?
Just I am one direction straight at my opponent.
Yeah. Like coming in juggernaut style, you're coming straight out.
Right. It's the Eastern thug in me.
Right.
Do you intend to be squared off to your opponent too as you're coming straight at them? Is that
not intentionally, but it does happen a lot.
Okay.
It's another thing that I've been working on. When I fight shield foot forward, my hips kind of lock into position. I'm kind of very stuck, so I've been swapping to a sword foot forward stance, and it's allowed me to be more mobile. I don't know if that really makes sense, but that's just the way my body's messed up.
No, it's whatever's natural to your stance. I mean, some people do right leg forward, some people do left leg forward. I will say that sword hand forward leg does give range advantage. That's one of the things about it. But honestly, if it's comfortable for you to be the other way, that has also advantages as well. Your hips loaded and things like that. So,
but if you look at your fighting in there, how often you're planting yourself to the ground.
Right there, exactly. That was the paths I was talking about.
Right.
Yeah. And once you get planted, you can't move. You start getting stuck when your body is locked in position there. You don't have many options.
Right.
And of course, then His Majesty forces you to move. So
that's the plan. But I mean, like, okay, but if you look at
you're gonna notice here too. So you're
good, Sean. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. No, what I'm saying, I think I'm going to say the same thing that Thorfinn's talking about. So right now you're planted in this horse stance right here, and as he starts shooting at you, your ass starts falling further and further into the ground. You're getting more and more planted.
Exactly, and His Majesty keeps a bit over his feet better, so he's still moving. Right, he has the ability to step around while you're locked down.
Well, he's using his shield for himself.
Right. Oh, sure.
Exactly.
No, that's a huge advantage, right? Mm-hmm. What he means by that is he's taking your shield and using it for his own defense. Remember that thing, you can't swing through it, right?
Right.
So you can use your opponent's shield to block for you. And I do this all the time where I'll step into a zone where I know that I'm covered, right? So.
All right. So, Fabian, how do we fix this?
How do we fix this?
Yeah. What can he do at practice to fix that footwork?
So to fix the footwork, the first thing I do is make sure that the hips are always unlocked. Whenever you get in any sort of stance, make sure when you take a breath and you can rotate your hips. I call it channeling Elvis. So if you're flat-footed on the ground, you can't rotate and shimmy your hips. If you get on slightly in the balls of your feet, you're kind of floating a little bit. You can roll your hips, which allows you to bring your body and your hips forward or back, and you can start using that motion for your defense to help move the shield, and that will help load your offense at the same time. That also helps you to slide and glide and move into any position you need to get to when you need to get there. Right now, when you're planted in there, as soon as you see something you want to do, it takes you too long to start to initiate that movement, if that makes any sense to you.
It does.
Yeah, the reason, like where we're at right now in this picture, you can see that your left leg is planted to the ground, and you could pivot off of it, but you can't lift it.
His right leg is planted too.
Yeah, he's pushing down. Yeah,
he's anchored.
Right. Yes.
And so what you have to do is what Fabian was saying is your muscles literally have to refire to get you to get off of that, and then we're talking tenths of a second, but in a fight that's a long time.
Yeah.
The other thing I look at on any of these, and Melvin, don't worry, we're going to see the same thing in your fights. When you are set up in stance ready, you do not have any ready offense. Your opponent does not have any threats that they have to worry about when you're first initiating there. That allows him to take the initiative and do whatever he wants to initiate that fight.
Yep, totally free.
So right now, you can't throw a shot. You don't have any shot you can throw. And as you come in, it's something that's going to repeat in your fights. You're going to set up in a position, but in order for you to throw that shot, you're going to have to pull back and lock before you can fire something. So always make sure you have an immediate ready threat when your opponent's coming in. They have to have something to worry about, or you've just handed them all the options.
Edward, do you do that stance because you're using the sword as a defense at that point? So you're kind of covering that section of your shield with the sword, or is that is that what you a neutral position for your sword for you?
That's just a neutral, natural position for
Okay.
your sword at that point.
Yeah, and so what's happened is your hands out in front of your body here. It's really hard for you to throw an effective blow from that point. So you need to get it to where you've got some power loaded somewhere, like get your shoulder up or even back a little bit. I'm not saying you have to go all the way back to the shoulder like they teach you your first fighter practice, right? That's just so people can learn how to swing. But once you start to feel that you've got your power loaded into your shoulder or whatever, from there you can fire anywhere, right? But if you got your hand out in front of you, you only can really go forward, right? And that's not going to be hard enough to hit someone. Or like Fabian said, you're going to have to go all the way back to power load that thing again. And so unless you're using it as a defense to kind of cross that zone, right? You probably want to figure out a stance that has a more of an immediate threat for your attack. So that way otherwise he could walk in, right, and just attack. What's going to happen is he's going to step in, you're coming straight at him, and that person's going to just go, okay, well, these are the open spots, and I don't have any threat right now. So
Edward, it's actually easy to correct if you go and start working at a PEL or anything else. Just get into a stance, get into where you want to be, and learn what you have to do. Sometimes it's just as little bit as getting your shoulder to come forward just another inch and get all the muscles and the response ready. So as soon as you twitch, everything's coming with you.
Yeah, you could actually, like Fabian was showing, you can feel when your shoulder or whatever gets power loaded, the muscles are tight, right? But when that gets to that point, you're like, okay, I can move now, I can attack.
But it's not just the shoulder; it's all the core band muscles from your chest down to your hips. So you can go ahead and counter your hips. You can get in a certain motion. So as soon as you start moving anything, everything's coming with you, and it helps not to waste any time or energy on the shot.
Yeah. Basically, what we're saying is that all blows are going to come from the ground up using your core muscles, right? As that's your power base, right? But at where you're at right now, you don't have any of those things preloaded.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're basically looking at a lot of footwork drills. I know you said you were doing the hourglass. You might want to have maybe talk to Vincent and see if he can help you work that out. Because if you notice the steps that he's taking, they're all smooth, fluid. Your steps are kind of choppy. You're not really gliding. You're kind of like you'll pick up one foot and put it down. You'll pick up the other foot and put it down. So maybe talk to Vincent about checking out some of his footwork. Look at some of the other top shelf fighters that we have and watch their feet. Watch how they kind of slide around and manipulate that range. Because right now you're trying to get into range, but the way you're doing it is, like I said, it's kind of choppy. It's also the motions that you're taking. Like Thorfinn was saying, what I see there is that that to me says that you're in a defensive mindset, which means you are more concerned about what he's throwing at you than you are in the opportunities available.
Oh, very much so. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, he's a good fighter though. So it's got to be you got to go in. Like,
yes, I'm sure His Majesty does just fine for himself.
Yeah, exactly. So caution is not a bad idea.
but here's the thing too. If you look at how he's standing when you're approaching the fight, he's barely in his guard because he's not being threatened.
Yep.
And you are on guard and fully defensive the entire time. So as you're approaching this, you are in full guard before you really need to be, before either of you are in any position to have access to targets. And you being in that guard and being that tensed up, that is exhausting.
I would say you're overcommitting to defense right now. You're overcommitting to standing your ground in there. And anytime anybody overcommits to anything, their opponent can take advantage of that.
Yep, totally. All right. Let's see if we can. Okay. So as we move on to this, one thing I did want to show you before I move on to this next one, the point of impact. So first off, everything these guys are saying, absolutely correct. And I think what they're talking about, the footwork, how you're planting, is going to be the big problem that we are going the deficiency that you're going to come away with tonight. Having said that, I do also want to show you the point of impact and how we got there. So as he comes in, Vincent throws a couple of things at you that, you're in a defensive guard, so he's going to block this. I'm not sure what happens with this leg. That might be flat right there.
It looks flat to me, but
I was trying to.
As you guys are here, fairly close to each other, this is where you are going to throw this offside head. Honestly, the Molinet mechanic you have on this is pretty solid. I like how you're throwing it. I don't like why you're throwing it. Because you're.
I think at that point, I was just more of a get away from me shot.
Is that what it is? Okay. Well, that's what ended up getting you killed. Because as we go through this, I'm not sure if the frame by frame is really going to work here. So this is where you start throwing that. And you see he's backing out a little bit. What he's doing is he's just clearing room. He got close enough to you that he just got a little too close to where he wanted to be. So he just took a step back to clear room to give him room to shoot. And you accommodated by firing into his guard.
Mm-hmm.
You see this? This shot you're firing right here, you're firing completely into his guard. There was not a target there available to you.
And where did your defense go?
Yeah, I was going to point that out too, Sagan.
Yeah, this is a good still frame image.
Yeah. I mean, that would be an amazing Dungeons and Dragons figure, but but not the best defense. It's dynamic.
Now look, Edward. It's important to note here that all of us have this picture somewhere.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And worse.
All of us have a picture of us with our shields above our head.
Like back behind you like that. Yeah, I got one of those.
I mean, this is
picture or worse.
Yeah. I mean, this is a still frame image. Like, it doesn't tell the whole story. That's what I said about frame by frame. You don't have the whole context here. So, yeah, your shield's clear behind you on this. We all have exactly this picture somewhere. And I mean, Sagan's got his up in his attic. That's how he stays so young.
Yeah, mine are more drawings.
But it is exactly that picture.
Paintings.
So, yeah, as you threw this shot, your shield just gone. And so now Vincent is he's going to throw this offside.
This is a setup
because he's got a target there. As it turns out, you managed to get your shield back in time to catch that. But now your shield recovery is compromised because it got thrown way back, and so now you got to bring your shield back up. He throws into this. And basically, one just rolls right off of that up into your. Oh,
now he does do this nice little hop, which changes his angle there.
That is the point of impact.
Absolutely, he did a body position shift.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's got you. He's got you in the weeds because your shield's moving so much, right?
Well, and he's throwing a shot and then trying to throw a shot that's going to be the most harder for you to block.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. He went to the farthest.
And so basically,
reach, right?
Yeah. And like I said, there's all this other stuff we're talking about with your footwork and how you're approaching the fight that is absolutely correct. In this particular case, the reason you got hit is because you tried to fire that Molinet directly into his guard. So he was never threatened. And that shot wasn't based on good targeting. And that put your shield in a bad position. So you ended up getting hit because of poor target recognition.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
So,
Right.
It does.
So
yeah.
Edward,
Go ahead.
you can do anything you want during a fight at the right time. You have to take into account what your opponent is ready for and where they're at.
Right. All right. So I'm gonna back this up just a little bit, and then we're gonna go full speed on this a couple times to give you an idea about how it all plays out and see how we get to see the fight differently.
It's a nice park.
Mm-hmm.
It's just full speed, right? Okay.
Yeah. See how different it felt? The fight felt really different watching it in full
See
speed.
the fight a little bit different. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Man, this just looks really fast. I even checked it to make sure on. Oh,
That's one thing. Yeah. That's how quick these guys are.
Back that up.
That's right.
Nah. I'm gonna back that down one. There you go. That looks more real. All right. Let's shot real quick.
So, Edward, when you were doing these passes with him, were you trying things different, or you would come at doing the same thing? What were you trying to do during these sessions?
Stay alive.
Okay.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean,
Fair, I can understand that one.
Yeah, legitimate.
So I never noticed a different approach.
That's that first one.
Yeah, that's first fight. Does it just roll straight into the second one?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Yeah, this is good. This is a good speed, I think, right here. Oh. Bang. Bang. Yeah.
So, yep, that one you were doing nothing but defense.
Also, you're wiggling your shield around. You're moving it instead of keeping it like solid in good form towards your opponent. You're moving the bottom around a lot, which even a couple degrees of your hand movement will take that kite shield to move the tail part severely out of your leg defense. And so what he does is he hits and he draws his shield across, right, by the second shot, the offside head, knowing that it's going to move the tail off, and that's how he's going to go for that leg wrap.
Right.
Holy shit, what's going on over here? Oh, I think my cat just tried to come in the room.
Yeah.
He's 20 pounds. So
Sagan, you got anything else on that?
Well, the interesting point for me, from what I'm seeing, Edward, are you practicing the object of the left hand and the right hand do completely different things at the exact same moment based on the same information coming in through the ocularium?
I'm just taking it in as I see it and trying to react to the moment.
Okay. So in this pass, when His Majesty attacks, you take that shield and you completely block any forward view. Right? And that's what His Majesty wants.
Of course.
Right. So that shield comes up. Here's the attack. Here's another one. And by the way, guess where I'm going now? When we move our implements, it gives our opponent very exact information about our defense and offensive capabilities in that split of time. So him knowing your sword is back behind the shield that you just voluntarily moved over to that side of your body, tells him, oh, by the way, on the other side of the body, especially down low, there are any number of targets. So a lot of times, when we have to be able to look at the video and go, wow, what did I give up by that movement? What information did my opponent gain by what I did? So.
All right. Well, I think we got some good information there. Edward, before we move on to Melgwin, do you have any questions?
I don't. I'm just taking in as much information as I can. I've been watching the Coach's Corner religiously for the past year, so just taking it as I can.
Is this all making sense to you?
Yes.
Are you getting things you think you can work on?
Yes.
Okay. And
Great.
do you have somebody? Are you working with His Majesty? Are you working with Vincent?
As much as I can. I mean, I'm trying not to impose too much while he's in the middle of his reign, but I take the advice from him often.
I mean, do you have a primary trainer that you're working with?
Not exclusively right now. No, my knight still lives up in the East Kingdom, so I just kind of take the feedback from all the knights in the practice as much as I can.
It's a good way to do it.
Yeah, that is. That is. All right. If you have anything that comes up, if you have any questions that pop up, definitely let us know, and we will we'll address that.
Yeah.
All right. All right, Malgwin, now that you've seen us abuse poor Edward there, are you sure you want to...
That wasn't abuse. That was constructive criticism.
Well, we're gonna review it even if he logs off, so it doesn't matter.
Well, I better hang around. I might actually learn something from it.
We're going to be laughing at you anyway. You might as well be here to enjoy it. So
I gotta subscribe to that YouTube channel for whatever fighter practice that is. I'm talking about the Edwards.
Yeah.
Let's see. Malgwin, the first fight you had with Eva lasted like 17 seconds. Do you want to go over that? Or do you want to move on to Elfgar?
Well, there's not a lot in that video. I got Eva fainted with an offside cut, turned it into a stab, and got me straight in the face.
Okay. We'll
I had 2 sticks.
We'll move on to the other one because I think with this other one with Elfgar, I think is going to give us some more information here. So let's,
that was the first time I'd met or fought this gentleman.
All right. Well, let's take a look.
Is he from Adelaide?
It's possible.
I hate the angle on the fights.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a different fight we want to look at.
Yeah, let me pull up another one.
Well, I fought him before. Fabian, how many times have you been to Lockhart?
6, I believe.
Yeah. I think I've only been twice.
Never enough. I was just talking to people last night about doing another road trip.
I love it. I would love to go again.
We should do it.
Let's talk about it.
Absolutely.
I haven't been to festival. I've only been there one time, and it was such a blast. It was one.
Oh, you got to go to festival.
It was. Yeah. I went one time. I got to be honest with you. It was amazing. Actually, I think the final 4 were you, me, Uther, and one other person. I can't remember who it was. Maybe Brucey, but
that's the party.
So did you get your arm taken right there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Looks like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to tell what happened there. Let me back this up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
There it is.
Well, that's a good one to look at.
Took my arm as I thrown at his leg.
Right.
Oh, I see.
All right, Fabian, what are you seeing?
Oh, I definitely have thoughts.
You're
Want me to back this up anymore? Or
no. So I guess the question is where to start on this. So, Edward, same information, same advice I gave to Edward to begin with. Same thing for you. When you're first starting off in here, there's zero threat to your opponent. You're not ready to throw any shots. And you're in your body. You're not ready to move forward. You're not ready to do much of anything except move backwards from here. You've got a bail action that you've got. You don't have many other options set, so your opponent can do whatever they want in here, and you're going to be responding to it. And it takes you so long to set up trying to get a threat going. And when you're doing, you're not really closing down any windows. You're committing everything to a block, and then you're trying to pull back and start a shot. If Florentine works so much better, depending which style you're fighting. There are many different styles that you can do.
Correct.
But when you're blocking with one, you're loading the other one, and immediately you've got the other one coming, and then you've got everything firing, and you're able to go wherever to wherever. And you always want to make sure as you're throwing those shots that you're clearing zones and windows. Throwing a shot that's going to block the threat from your opponent that will also kill them. So if they miss the block, they're dead. If they do block, then you shut down their offense, which allows you to go ahead and ramp up your attacks more. You can spend more money, more energy on the attacks at that point. And with Florentine, mobility is crucial. You got
to be moving. Yeah,
absolute. Yeah.
So hesitant right now with your weight dropped over your back heels. You're not ready to move, and you got to be ready to move with Florentine.
So I'm glad you defined the opening windows and closing zones thing you said, because it sounded at first when you were like, I was like, okay, explain what that is, and then you went back and did it, and I was like, yeah, good, because I wanted to hear that myself actually.
That's something that I do try and do when I'm throwing my shots. I'm not. What I was originally taught was a drop return or round the head return. I try and bring the swords back in line so that if a shot is thrown from my opponent, that I've got a defense quick and in place for it. But I'm going to look at this video again because you've just taken that concept and pushed it further for me. So I've already got stuff that I can work on.
So Melvin, for example, when you're throwing a shot and you've gone like off. An offside headshot to your opponent. If you go ahead and pull the shot back, you can basically let the tip drop a little bit, pull your hand up, and you've got yourself pulling it back into a hanging guard, and that can be used as a defensive zone that can then be turned around into an attack. You can do that with both hands. You can also do a low shot and pull it back up, and as you're pulling it up, you're clearing all that defensive zone that you can turn over into an offensive attack.
Yeah, that's what I prefer to do and try to do.
So I'm looking at what you're doing with your left hand over here, and the left hand comes and it's almost sideways to overextended to your right side of your body. That is indicative of me when you're more or less slapping your opponent. You're not taking all the power and delivering it straight to its target. So you're doing these big slapping motions with your sword. A lot of people do it. It's we do what we visualize, what we think we're supposed to be doing with the swords, and you can modify that. You can re-visualize and completely retune your fighting. If you're going to take the effort to develop any power, your opponent deserves to feel that.
Well, so that's the thing. Sorry, that's something that I find fascinating, because I know that sometimes with my offhand, my left hand, it just does not have the power even when it hits clean. So I'm all over this.
So right now, when you're looking at the way that you're standing, you are locked up with your hips in here. So as you're going, you're basically just kind of got this little slap motion that's going down with the sword. If you're able to get in a stance, and again, with what we had talked about with Edward earlier, if you're able to be relaxed and get your hips floating on there, you can actually use when you block something with your entire body, the torso is rotating, doing that shot, and that brings your hips back and your body back, and then you can be driving with the hips and torso to throw that other shot. And so it's not just an arm motion where you're going down and trying to hit your opponent. You can be rotating your hips and your core, and that's what's driving everything. It's not arms, it's hips and torso that are doing most of the heavy carrying when you're doing the Florentine.
Yeah.
For the styles that I've fought.
Hey, Fabian, I'm going to throw something in here specific to that. Exactly what you're talking about. So this here with the left hand, I'm doing this on the frame by frame. I'm hoping you guys can see that okay. So you're going to take this step forward, and I'm going to want you to notice your left hand, the sweet spot of your stick. And you understand? But do you know what I mean by the sweet spot of the stick?
I've heard it.
Okay.
I haven't.
The sweet spot of the stick is about from the tip of your sword. It's about a fist length down and runs for another fist length. Okay,
4 to 6 inches is right there.
Right. It's the fat part of the bat in baseball terms, right?
Yep.
That's the part of the stick that we need to be hitting with, right?
Yep.
That's the part that gives us the best balance of speed, power, and range. Okay. Mm-hmm. So as we look at this, as you're throwing this shot here, and again, I know this is just one shot, but I think this is pretty typical of where your mechanics are. I want you to notice that in your left hand, the sweet spot of your stick doesn't go past your shoulder line.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So you're not getting...
because it's not coming far enough back, I'm not getting enough power into it.
You're not getting any stick rotation. You're on the right. You're on the right there, right, Melvin?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, 2 sticks, shiny hat on the right hand side. Yeah.
You're not getting any stick rotation. I mean, when you do pel work, do you do pel work from your shoulder, or do you pel work with your hands out front?
That's a good question.
Do you do pel work?
I have done pel work. Yes, it's not as
back in the good old
regular
days
as I'd like.
you did some pel work back in the old timey days.
Way back when, in the long ago.
It's like pel what? Yeah,
I do have one.
So Melvin, I could not throw a good shot from the position you were doing there.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I would have a hard time trying to add all the mechanics together, trying to come up with the force necessary. So when you have an opening in a fight, they don't come that often. You need to be ready to take full advantage of it when you have that opportunity. So you want to make sure that you are ready with all the mechanics necessary to take advantage of any opportunity, any opening. If you're caught flat-footed, if you're kind of leaning backwards, if your sword's not in the right position, and then you're trying to lean forward and make contact, it's not a high percentage shot, and you're not doing yourself any favors.
There you go.
I'm going to say here, too, that it almost looks like you're throwing this left hand so that you can throw the right hand.
Right. There you go.
Well,
but you're not really loading.
That's the way it looks to me, too. That left hand is of no consequence.
Yeah. Because you're not really interested in this left-handed shot.
Right. The other way to look at it, and I wanted to wait until our second fight review to bring this up, when we're doing performance-based training, which doesn't mean we're counting wins and losses, we're looking at how well we performed. Okay, so for the two of you, how much of a threat do you believe you are to the top 2% of the fighters in your kingdom? Are you doing performance-based training to contest with these individuals, not beat them, but to contest with them to where they do have something to worry about?
That's what I'd like to do. I'd want to make the top 2% work to kill me. I don't want to make it easy for them.
And if I may, Melvin, who is this individual you're fighting here?
That is Lord Dino from, I think, Anyala over on West Australia. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Okay. And do you feel that he felt you were a threat?
That's a good question.
His body language doesn't say it.
Right.
Yeah, no, I think you're right, Duke
The
Sean.
other piece that we add to the performance-based training is the mental and physical parts, right? The physical parts we're viewing right here. I can't tell what's going on inside your head. I can't tell if you are really where's your intent? Are you really into this fight, right? Couple of the things, I mean, the other gentlemen have already brought up is the left hand is there, but on one of the other movements where you literally lean forward to thrust with the left hand would be a good object lesson of what do you think a top 2%er would have done when you did that. Right? He wouldn't have hit you in the. He wouldn't have come at you in the arm. He'd have come at you in the head in the final blow. But when you leaned forward, this opponent backed up. For most of us, when we see that our opponent is willing to give us that weapon, you're going to get attacked.
It's like it's overcommitted,
right?
As it were.
Exactly, and you're leaning. So now things, all the body position and everything have now changed.
So Melvin, even if you don't do Pell practice, just going out there and doing slow work with an opponent or anything else,
right?
I would recommend that when you get into any stance you're going to choose to experiment with, to try to make sure that when you get those swords back, that you feel all the muscles connected. That is, so as soon as you're flexing one way or another, those swords are immediately coming with you. You can immediately throw a shot. You don't have to move, catch it, and then start throwing the shot. Right. So does that make sense?
I think so. As opposed to being further out in front with my guard, if I can pull it back to stretch the chest.
Every rule has a time to be broken. And so there are times that have your swords floating out in front of you and with Florentine, and where you go ahead and pull it up and have a nice defensive zone. So then you can go ahead and do a flurry of attacks. There's definitely times to do that. But when you're coming in, you're wanting to attack, everything needs to be taut and ready. So as soon as you flinch one way or another, those swords are immediately going to their target.
Yeah, power loaded.
Okay, so, that makes sense.
And just like we expressed to Edward, the implements in both hands need to be able to do their job at the exact same moment.
Independently.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're not thinking about, oh, geez, I need to move this hand or I need to move. They just go. And again, in performance-based training, that's what you're after. You react to what's really there. What are you given? So,
where does your opponent want to be wounded?
Right. And it's that kind of thing. And then on the cautionary side is, what does he want me to do and why is he doing that? But, again, we're not in a guessing game. We work on high percentages.
So something to think about for both of you is that our opponents always react to what information they're presented with, right? So no matter what you do, whatever stance you get in, whatever footwork, your swords, whatever, they see that, and that's what they're going to be responding to. So you can kind of lead the dance, you can kind of lead the fight based upon what you're presenting to your opponents. However you want to have that fight start, you can bring them in, you can draw them out, you can do whatever else, but just by giving the type of information that you want to give to them, that's something you can very consciously decide to do during a fight. And it's something that a lot of people don't ever think about. So right now we've talked a little bit, or I've talked a little bit about when you're casual and you don't have a ready offense, your opponent can come in and do whatever they want. Sometimes you want your opponent to jump in and you want them to take a fast action, aggressive action against you, so then you can turn that against them. But you need to be able to take advantage of whatever your opponent's going to do at that point. Just make sure that whatever you're doing, you get to a point where you have immediate response that you can.
Indeed.
No.
Wow. Let's see. We got another fight with Angus here. Looks like we got a little bit more work with here.
Okay.
Now, which Angus is this?
This is Baron Sir Angus of Politicopolis.
Okay. Nice. Did he really just do a swim under that shot?
Yep.
Nice. That's definitely somebody that was in the zone. What are you setting up right here? Look at the way that you're setting up right now. I watched this fight earlier. Watch yourself as your opponent's coming in. What threat does your opponent have right now? What shot can you possibly throw from here right now?
With the left hand, I'm hoping I can stab him in the face. With the right hand, defend any cut that he throws at me, preferably.
Yeah, I think right now they're talking about a shot that came in.
Yeah, that's courtesy type.
Talking about, but he stays in the same stance basically when he re-engages here.
Right.
I get you.
So you're sitting on your heels. Are you hipped?
Yeah, legged.
Are you hipped?
Do you have the rule that if you get hit in the bum, you have to sit on your heels?
I don't think so.
So if we get hipped, we have to sit down on our heels. We can't raise up anymore.
Right.
Legged, you can still raise up.
Yeah.
That's a Western convention.
Right.
We don't do that anywhere else.
It's different in other places. So
okay,
we don't do that.
Okay.
That's why I was asking, because I was like, I think that's maybe a regional thing.
Okay.
It's a Western convention, which means that Lockhawk may or may not still have that as a convention.
So anyway, so go ahead.
Well, let's put it this way, Melgwin. When you're legged, is it a fighting? Are you supposed to go back on your heels?
As far as I'm aware, it's comfortability of the fighter themselves. You can put your feet flat on the ground if you prefer, or you can put your toes down and your heels up. However, if you get hit again in the legs, you're not allowed to raise yourself up on your knees.
Okay. So that means that you can actually raise up on your knees.
There we go.
Yeah.
Thank you, babe.
Yeah.
So from right here, just watch yourself as he's engaging here.
And this is at quarter speed.
Right. And they stay here for a little bit before he engages. So he does that raising, clearing motion.
Yeah, just to get some motion going.
Yeah, to basically give him something for the opponent to react to.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
I was interested in how was he straddling his leg here.
That's a little close.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Well, again, West Kingdom Convention is the plane of the knees, right?
Right.
Yeah.
He's right there.
Which
he's got 1 foot past it, obviously.
That's clearly
a little close. They reset here and they get a chance to get started again.
Yeah, I mean, Weston on tier seem to have stuck to the plane of the knees. Like we don't have that as a convention, but we just generally don't because it's not polite.
Yeah. Hey, so one of the reasons I think that we're talking about this whole if you're hipped or if you can raise up is that when you're sitting back on your ass, it's really hard to engage that core, right? Which is where your power is coming from. And so you're literally becoming all arm strength, and that's going to be really it's harder to hit with power. It's harder to basically everything's harder from that point. If you can rise up onto your knees, it allows you to engage the core, and I highly recommend doing that if it's within the rules of your kingdom.
Right. There you go.
Yeah, and I what I'm seeing here is that you are, as you mentioned, you get the live toes where your toes are curled up underneath you instead of having the tops of your feet flat on the ground, right?
Yeah, that's
I find that to be more comfortable.
Yeah, it gives you a better power base to shoot from, and that's what Thorfinn's talking about.
That's true, but the trouble is my ankles don't go flat out to the back.
No, that's what I'm saying is if your toes are curled underneath you, you're actually able to push off on your toes. Yeah. And it creates a better shooting platform for the people that like to have the tops of their feet flat on the ground. there's no stability there. And so all of your core muscles are being used to just hold yourself upright, and you can't use those to actually generate motion to throw a shot.
Yeah. One of the other thing, Melvin, if you assume that position in armor in front of a Pell, you get a real good object lesson in how much power you cannot generate.
Yeah, go ahead and hit it, right?
Yeah. Just
That's
prove
a
to
good
yourself,
idea.
oh, there's nothing I can do here.
Yeah.
So it is one of those things where power generation is, it's an absolute in our sport.
Yeah, figure out what you need to do in order to be able to deliver immediate power.
Exactly. Whatever works for you, that's great.
That's a good idea.
The other question, when the conventions for you, when you're legged, are you able to move on your legs? Or are you in that index spot?
I believe so, yes.
You can do all sorts of little movements and take little steps with your knees. You can even do 180s and 360s by pivoting on one knee. You can get to the point where you're very, very mobile and you get a lot of power raising up on you using your hips and everything else, even from your knees.
Also,
to carry that forward, in this one instance, you're not coming up in your regularly in your other fights. Is that a common thing for you to do, is come up on your knees?
Sometimes, yes.
Oh, but just sometimes, not all the time?
Not all the time. Depends on what I think of and what I'm trying to do.
Cool. Okay. That's good. Good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Also remember, if you look at where your stance is here, so you still, although legged, you do have a stance. So what I mean by that is how your body is presented to your opponent. You could blade your body out to your opponent, but you're really square. You're directly lined up.
Blade your body out?
Yes, exactly right. Your hips, anyway.
I don't understand that, I'm afraid.
So instead of being flat to your opponent, basically pulling your right shoulder back.
Oh, okay.
And so now you're presenting flat body straight to your opponent, right? Where you can't, if you get, like we were talking about, if you're mobile, like Fabian was saying, like if you learn to spin and move on your knees, you can then present a bladed out version of your attack form, which is not going to be just a square in front of your opponent, which they have way more options to hit you.
But the other thing that gives you, when you basically pull your right shoulder back or your hip back, it gives you enough room to throw good shots with the right arm. When you're squared up there and you have that shield right in front of you, it's very hard to develop a good blow from there.
Right. Yeah, because all they have to do is basically put the shield in that zone, and it's done.
Which is standard. That's what we do. Yeah. You get in their face, you track their sword.
Yeah.
And so pull your right shoulder back, pull your hip back, and then you have more options.
Right. Now you have the room to actually develop the power and create even a fake. You could then have the time to make these things happen. A little luft, a little air.
Yeah. All right. We're coming up on about 10 minutes. So you can see how quickly this goes when we've looked at like 4 minutes of actual video.
Right. Yeah.
And that's how quickly the time goes. We're looking at this. Let me stop sharing here. All right. Malcolm, do you have any questions? Anything you don't understand?
Listening to you gentlemen examine my fighting has shown me things that I was not aware of, and things that I can try and things that I can do. And that's part of why we're here. And that thrills me, because you've taken concepts that I have and I try and teach to my locals, and I can now push my boundaries further. I can move on my knees. I can do this. I can change that. And I'm thrilled. That's awesome. Thank you all.
Absolutely.
All right, Fabian, you got any final comments for Malcolm?
It would be great to see a video of you progressing and trying out different things. Seeing what you do with it and being able to give advice and feedback with what you're trying.
A thing that both you guys feel free on social media and stuff, reach out to us. We all love to talk and help people. If you can find us, gladly at any time review a video for you or talk to you about just fighting in general.
Mhm.
And I'm sure that when I say that, I'm betting that all 4 of these people will say the same thing.
It's what we do.
Yeah. I mean, here's the deal. I'm going to like find your videos anyway. And so might as well talk to me about them because I'll be watching them anyway. Like I just told Edward earlier, I was like, oh man, I watched like 5 of your fights last night. And I didn't even know you were going to be on the show. Right?
All right, Sagan, you got any final thoughts for Melvin there?
Well, Melvin, we did mention Pell work. We did cover the body positions you do get yourself in. We've covered your sword movements to a certain degree. Again, Pell work. I know it got for some reason that people make some people break out in hives.
Oh, I love it.
But it really does prove to you, can I develop power from where I'm standing with my sword, my left sword down and this sword over here, and both feet squared up. And it answers questions for you that it's an object lesson you're teaching yourself. You don't need us. Right? And then you go to practice and you try and do the same thing with an opponent saying, I'm trying to figure this out. And then if the power swords are out of position, whatever it is, go after it. And just go after it.
Wow.
I've heard both of you mention, you don't do a lot of Pell work, and that's fine. And some people do Pell work wrong, but they don't get the most out of it that they can.
Like, what's the word I'm looking for? Wrong. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. But one thing that I usually recommend to people is that even without a Pell, if you're doing any motions that, any drills or anything else, try stepping back, doing a little bit slower and closing your eyes. Just close your eyes and feel what everything in your body is doing, and see what you can modify. See what different, changing your shoulder stance, changing, whatever you're modifying. See what it does for you, because there's all sorts of shoulder position that you can do when throwing shots, getting in position, and every one of them does different things for you. You can rotate the body differently. Just experiment. Just use this as an opportunity to get in touch with your body and figure out how your body wants to move and what you can get out of it, instead of forcing it to do something that might be awkward.
Yeah, to feel where your body is and put your mind into your body. Does this feel right? Is that working? Is that going where I want it to? Yeah.
So I basically develop motions that I then figure out how to use them with the sword. What this motion does what when a sword's attached, and then I use that in the fighting.
Let me say a cautionary thing about Pell work is it doesn't have to be hard and fast.
Right.
It has to be done correctly. Okay. So the most important thing you can do is to do the blow properly. And then what will happen is you'll build the muscle memory, which then will pay dividends for you in the future. So, and remember, do not overextend the elbow. Make sure that you're protecting your joints when you're doing it. And this will build in good technique, which pays off again. You want to do this for another 20 years? Make sure you learn good technique now. You can beat your Pell up all you want. There's no beat, who cares? But if you learn these things, attack the Pell like properly, not hard and fast. You can do that later, right? You can always go more, but don't learn bad habits, which then become ingrained through Pell work. So I know that people I see so many guys just want to beat the fuck out of the Pell, and I'm like, hey, you know what? That's not helping you really in the long run.
You will blow out your elbow before you learn how to throw the shot correctly.
And it can embed bad habits. So
exactly, and so the other thing with Pell work, guys, is that you're building these kind of muscle memories that are going to allow you to then skip sections. So if it's an A, B, C combination that you're throwing, eventually your body will be able to go A, C. You don't have to have these middle parts because you'll have the muscle memory and recognition to go from there. So it's not like you're always going to throw the same pattern every single time in your life, but your body will then know how to go from A to C.
Yeah.
And if you would like to review your mechanics, I do have a series of videos on YouTube on stick mechanics. I can send you a playlist for those if you'd like. If you'd like to take a look at the mechanics that I teach, just give you a different look of what your mechanics are.
That'd be awesome.
You're welcome to that for sure. But yeah, we're coming up on time. So thank you both for joining us, and again for being willing to have us kind of pick us apart. Hopefully it
wasn't that bad.
It wasn't all that bad, right? So hopefully it's not as scary as you might thought it was going to be. Again, I'll give you guys one last shot. You guys have any other questions for us before we let you go here?
Edward?
You good? Edward, you good?
Yeah, I think we're good for now. If I have anything, I'll send you a message.
All right.
Feel free to reach out.
Yeah, for sure. As always, Thorfinn, thanks for joining me. Always love having you on, brother. Sagan, welcome back. It's good to have you, sir.
Yeah, and I promise next time the dogs will be outside and I'll know where the mute button is.
Hey, I don't believe about the mute button part.
Hey, I'm sure it's one of these blurry icons here somewhere.
I know.
And Fabian, thank you so much for joining us last minute. Really appreciate it. It's been a great having you on. I mean, you know how much I appreciate what you've done for me over the years, and I'm really glad to be able to share your insights and the way you see the fight with some of these folks as well.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
And Fabian, ribs are almost healed. I got about 2 more weeks, buddy.
Okay.
And then I'll be back out on the field again.
I'll take that rain check. You bet.
Yeah, I hope so.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. Really appreciate everybody tuning in and watching. And we'll be back in a couple of weeks. I honestly have no idea what our episode is for 2 weeks out. But appreciate you tuning in and watching. And hopefully you guys have been able to get something out of this. And go back and look at your fights. And let's get back to making better fighters. So y'all have a good night.
Keep rock and rolling your hearts.
Good night, guys.
Good night.